For security reasons, I won't be using my family's real name. I had always thought my life was a fairy tale, or at least that's what my parents led me to believe. My childhood home on Elm Street was a place of warmth, laughter, and a sense of security. But all that came crashing down when I was just 12. My parents died in a car accident, leaving me orphaned and reeling from the shock. I was in the midst of processing the loss when my parents' will was read. To my astonishment, everything was left to me, except for one condition. My parents' estate, including our beloved home, would go to my estranged relatives, the Johnsons. The Johnsons, my so-called grandparents, were as entitled as they were manipulative. They had always been resentful of my parents' success and had a long history of snide remarks about us. I never quite understood why my parents had left their estate to them until that fateful day when they showed up at my doorstep. "Sweetie," Mrs. Johnson said, her voice dripping with a false kind of sweetness, "we're here to help you get settled. Your parents didn't leave you much, but will be your guardians until you're of age." It was a cruel twist of fate. They didn't just take me in, they took everything that was mine. Within days, they moved into our house, turning it into a showcase for their opulent tastes. They replaced our warm, cozy decor with their own cold, expensive artifacts. My bedroom was transformed into a guest suite for their high society friends, and my cherished belongings were boxed up and shoved into a dusty attic. I was shuffled off to live with a distant aunt and uncle who barely had room for me. My life became a series of new homes, new schools, and a constant battle to fit in. Meanwhile, the Johnsons enjoyed the house, flaunting their new status and parading it as their own. It was as if my past had been erased, and they were determined to erase me from their story as well. Years went by, and I worked tirelessly to rebuild my life. I earned a scholarship, graduated from college, and managed to buy a modest, charming home of my own. It was far from the grandiose mansion on Elm Street, but it was mine, something I had fought hard to achieve. Then, one day, I received a letter that made my blood run cold. It was from the Johnsons. They wanted to meet with me, and the letter hinted at an exciting opportunity. I knew that whatever they wanted, it would not be good for me. I decided to meet them, my heart pounding with a mix of anxiety and defiance. When I walked into their mansion, a replica of the one they had stolen from me, I was struck by how little they had changed. The house was still a shrine to their excess, and the air was thick with their pretentiousness. Mrs. Johnson greeted me with a thin-lipped smile that barely concealed her glee. "Darling, it's been so long," she said, her tone as fake as ever. "We're so pleased you could come. We have an offer you simply can't refuse." Mr. Johnson, always the more calculating of the two, handed me a dossier. I opened it to find an offer to purchase my current home. The offer was exorbitant, much more than I'd paid for it. The catch? They wanted to buy it as a favor and make it into their summer retreat. My jaw dropped. "You want to buy my house?" I asked incredulously. "The house I worked so hard for? After everything you did, you think a price tag can make this right?" Mr. Johnson leaned in, his eyes cold and calculating. "Think of it as a chance to settle old scores. You see, we've been quite generous considering your circumstances." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The audacity, the sheer nerve. "Generous," I spat. "Is that what you call it? You stole my home and now you want to buy my new one as a favor? You think this will absolve you of everything?" Mrs. Johnson's smile faltered, and for a brief moment the mask slipped. "We're offering you a lot of money. This is your chance to move on." I felt a surge of anger and resolve. Move on? I've already moved on. I've rebuilt my life from scratch. This house isn't just property to me. It's a symbol of everything I've overcome. The Johnsons' faces hardened as they realized their manipulation had failed. I stood up, my decision made. "Thank you, but no deal. You can keep your money. I'm not selling. Not now. Not ever." Their jaw dropped as I walked out of their mansion. I had faced the people who had tried to destroy my life and had come out victorious. My home was my sanctuary, a testament to my strength and resilience. The Johnsons had underestimated me, and now I was free to live my life on my own terms. I drove back to my house, a smile on my face and a sense of triumph in my heart. I had turned the ultimate plot twist in my story, proving that no amount of money could ever replace what I had fought so hard to achieve.